BowTie Barbecue Company at 6724 Waters Avenue in Savannah serves up barbecue both familiar and new. Made by hand and made with love. Family friendly and relaxed, BowTie takes great pride in the by hand preparation of high quality beef ribs, smoked chicken, pork spare ribs, and more. Come join the BowTie family. Ask about our food truck and catering too. BowTie Barbecue Company. Southern charm naturally. Look for them online at BowTieBarbecueCO.com.
Welcome into the Danny Britt Show. Christian Gokel alongside the head football coach for your cadets, Danny Britt, on a beautiful Thursday afternoon here at BowTie Barbecue. And before we get started, Coach, I got to ask, we're dressed up today. We got the maroon pants on. We got the shiny shoes on. Usually we get the fresh off the practice field, Danny Britt, or fresh out of the weight room. This is ready for presentation, Danny Britt, today.
Yeah, actually, I've got to go be on WJCL. We're filming something, a roundup show they do every week, and since it's our open week, they have me coming in as a guest. And actually, I'll change my shirt after this, and I wanted to make sure I had on my Abel's on and more gear.
That's it.
But I'll have to change my shirt and put on a suit and tie as heading over there.
Let me ask you this: is there other real estate on the shirt available for purchase?
There is most definitely other real estate on the shirt for purchase.
Like, we want to look like a NASCAR driver.
I have no problem with it. I'm not going to do it to the whole team, but for me, I'll do it. And I even mentioned that for the right price, I'll get a tattoo. We'll carry it around. So.
There we go. And again, Coach, today, a very somber day. I know 9/11, 24 years later, just some thoughts for you and any memories on that day. I know everybody has a different story about where they were.
Yeah, I can exactly remember exactly where I was. Actually was at my previous school and was cutting the football field in a full-blown suit because I was a principal also at the time. So I was cutting the grass, and my phone rang, and the headmaster called me and said, "Hey, you need to get here. Something just happened." And so that was just a horrible day. And, certainly, just so many people devastated by that. And we were all scared to death. So very somber day, and we will never forget.
Absolutely. And one final announcement here before we dive into the show. There is a headset sitting on the table right here. That is open real estate for anybody who wants to come up and brave Coach Britt and ask a question today. So that headset will be available if anybody wants to suggest maybe some offensive play schemes or some blitzes for Coach Britt. So we'll keep that available. I'll probably do that for the rest of the year. If you want to come on, we have a headset sitting right here. You can ask all the questions you would like to Coach Britt about.
Do it now because we're not meeting about it.
About to say about arm's length away from him. So we got a table between you, so you can ask any question you want to ask.
We are not setting a meeting.
Nope.
So
we are. Noon. BowTie Barbecue.
That's right.
You can come in and ask all the questions, and we will have video evidence of the questions that you ask. But second of back-to-back bye weeks for you guys, Coach. Last week we kind of talked a lot about what that looks like going into it. Going to ask you what this past week looked like out there. I know coming off 1-2, not the way you wanted to start the first 3 games, but felt like a little bit of momentum coming out of Burt County. How did that translate into this past week's practices?
Yeah, definitely. This week, I mentioned last week that the main idea was just to stay healthy, which we were not able to do, even though it wasn't on the practice field. We had a guy roll his ankle, which, being a kid.
Right.
This week we wanted to both stay healthy and just really work on some specific things we'd taken from, the first few games, some things that honestly you don't always get to work on. Like today in our practice schedule, we have a 10-minute mock overtime period, which we're going to, offense and defense are going to service each other and go out there and, we're going to run, from the 15 and, do all that and go through the 2-minute plays. Probably a little more for offense than it is for defense, but also, having the one defense out there working against it. We'll call that a light thud.
Sure.
I don't want them banging against each other a lot, ones here. But, so that those sort of things, we got some specific things in special teams we were able to work on. But basically, we took Monday off. Again, we now have a block, period. So we're weightlifting every day or doing something, physical like that every day during that block period. So Monday was off. Other than that, Tuesday and Wednesday we had a full padded tough practice with really long individual times. You know, a lot of just fundamental, basic work, working on the things we needed to improve on. Then going into, you know, kind of a makeshift script for the defense of working against. Basically, I went and took plays from all 4 previous teams, including Camden, and this is what we worked against. You know, those things that either hurt us or just are a little bit universal for going into the year. So, yeah, mindset was, you know, stay healthy to get better for the entire year. We did that Tuesday, Wednesday. Today, you know, it's a lighter half shell practice. We only have the varsity out there because the C team, not our JV, but our C team, which is our freshmen and some sophomores, will go playing Calvary's JV team at Calvary.
And we'll have that a broadcast. I'll be on the call for that one. We'll have a video broadcast of that one coming up 5 o'clock this afternoon over from Calvary Day. And Coach, with that, talking about getting healthy, can you update us on kind of where you guys stand from where your starting 22 was to begin the year to where you are now?
Yeah, I was watching practice yesterday, and I saw this kid running around. He looked really fluid. He's number 2. So I went over to Coach Moore and asked who it was. He said his name's Mackay. Pretty good player.
Rings a bell.
He was out there practice again yesterday, and I walked up and introduced myself.
There you
and he laughed because I'm a smart behind, but kind of felt that way. New player. Josh is back, full speed. Now we didn't, you know, really bang him much this week. We could have. He'll get a little bit of contact beginning of next week and then be ready to play. So Josh Washington, we're very excited to have him back. Full speed there. You know, we're pretty much healthy everywhere else. 2 of the offensive linemen. One, Aaron Brown, rolled his ankle against Burke. He'll be good to go. And then Colin Ward is the one that hurt himself being a kid, which I threatened to beat him up only because I know his father and grandfather very well. So, but he hopefully we'll get him back next week.
I know we did when I was in high school. I think we've talked about this before. Do you guys have like a list of, hey, don't do this during the season? Because ours was called the wheels rule. You just weren't allowed to be on anything with wheels during the season because it always seemed like somebody's on a skateboard, on a bike, something like that just leads to an injury and somebody's out for a couple of weeks.
We say that, I don't have a quote list of, I'm just like, hey, don't do anything to get yourself
We
hurt.
don't need to be on a trampoline.
Yeah. But they're kids and they're going to do things and they're going to, watch a kid. They don't go sit in a pool.
Right.
They're wrestling, they're fighting, they're competing, so I understand.
I think that's just kids. I think it's just guys in general.
Yeah, guys here. Well, at my age, no more. No, I'm relaxing.
Hey, I put a basketball hoop in the 5-foot section. Danny's trying to dunk.
Yeah, no, I'll be sitting beside it or in it, relaxing, but probably with a cold drink in my hand. But
Coca-Cola.
But anyway, the kids, we do talk about that. We say, just please realize, please, big team, little me, that whole thing. But you do understand they're boys and they're round bunches and they're going to be doing things.
With that, you come out to start a season and it always looks different halfway through the year. And then especially by the end of the season from what that starting 11 was till the end of the year. Has anybody kind of surprised you in the way that they've stepped up in their play on the field through the first 3 weeks?
I don't know about a necessarily surprise. Stuart Dunn, as a sophomore, has come in. We had, those injuries, at the beginning of the year, and he's done a really good job. Cole Henderson is back and looked really good in that 70-yard run against Burke, so he's taken back over the starting role there. But I think Stuart was. I mentioned Aaron Brown earlier as a sophomore offensive guard. He's done well and really progressed nicely. Reef Leonard has done a good job as our center as a sophomore, and has played pretty well, and he catches more heat than a lot of people. I feel like Jaden Houston has had a really good start to the year as a linebacker and just really been a bell cow for us there. John Black, sophomore at corner, has come in and we anticipated him doing well, and he's done well. He's learning. He's starting to really understand the nuances of our defense, which that sink coverage, there's so much to it that at first you just think it's a a too high shell,
Right.
but it's not. And there's so much to it. And once you start learning that, especially at corner, you can really, really do some things.
And I know, again, a lot of guys have stepped up on that defensive side of the ball. I'm curious, because outside of the Buford game, which kind of to me felt like the Ware County game from last year, where it's just offense couldn't stay on the field, so defense got worn down and just started giving up plays. I feel like the defense has played really well to start the season. What are some things you guys are maybe trying to tinker with or correct just to streamline it and get it to where it can be?
Yeah, definitely. We need. They have played well, and I really do. And I thought they were playing soundly against Buford. Just got absolutely worn down. Which, again, I think we're going to find a lot of people get worn down against that team.
Correct.
But one is just consistent effort. What we'll have is people giving really good effort, but not elite effort over and over again. We're trying to work on that and teaching them that, and showing them film on what that means. Tackling, which is so hard. Again, I mentioned this last week, to really work on, because we can put a scout team guy out there and they can run up and
massacre them.
Or just grab them. Well, you can't do that against Division I running backs. You know what I mean? So they've got to put their face on them, shoot their hooks, drive their legs. So we're trying to get them to focus in on that, and mature defenses can do it. So those things, and then like I mentioned, the secondary coverage and the nuances behind all of that. Let's continue to constantly work on that, and what that means.
And on the offensive side of the ball, it felt like against Burke, especially in the second half, the proof was kind of in the production where, hey, it's going to take a little while maybe for the passing game to get to where it's explosive, but I think a lot of that is dictated by the defense and how they approach. Burke County dropping 7-8 guys at a time, you weren't going to hit deep to middle shots right there. Right. So in the second half, you came out and just were explosive in the run game, because if somebody does drop 7 or 8 people, right, you're going to be able to move and pick up some stuff in the run game right there. It felt like maybe it started to click a little bit offensively in that regard, taking what the defense gives you.
It did, for sure. And I think in the first half, what we were upset with was, again, the flow, the way things were going. Of course, all of that ends up falling on Steven as the quarterback, but it's not always the case.
Sure.
He is the quarterback. He's got to make sure, but they have to be in one accord,
right,
and be, especially as fast as we go, and with our offense, as much movement as there is, we have to do that. And that's what AJ was so frustrated with at halftime, and it looked like a different team when we came out. Well, actually, the first 2 plays, not so much in the second half, but we hit Bubba on that third play, got the first down, and then it started just rolling from there. And that's kind of the way it works. Offense, I think a lot of times, once you can get in that rhythm, was good. As a team, we needed the break. As an offense, just specifically, may have been good to play again the next week, because we started feeling ourselves and feeling that rhythm. And, but mature teams can, reset and do that again.
And looking at the remainder of the schedule, I can't imagine, just when people scout you guys, that there's going to be too many teams that are going to say, yeah, we're going to go man-to-man press against BC and really challenge them at the line of scrimmage, to where, again, that vertical passing game really starts to kind of open up potentially. It feels like maybe Ware County is a team that has the talent, the guys outside who feel like they can do that. But for the most part, what you're probably going to see a lot this year is a shell over the top, dropping linebackers in the middle to try to take away the middle stuff. And you're going to have to really, really force teams through the run game to start to approach the line of scrimmage.
Definitely. And that's the plan. That's basic football, right?
Yeah.
We want to be able to do that. We want to be able to run the ball. We do have a major college running back there with Stan. Steven, as we mentioned, obviously a superior athlete. He can run the ball, and then all the other guys around can run the ball as well. So we're going to continuously push that, and hopefully, be able to keep people off balance with our balance.
And I'm curious, with Steven, the senior quarterback, he started a lot of games for you now. How much leeway does he kind of have at the line of scrimmage right now?
He does. AJ's given him a good bit of, I'll see AJ say, he'll make the call, which is, RPO type situations, and he'll like, well, what it's looking like now, he should choose X, and then, a lot of times I hear him going, that's okay. That was a good choice too, whatever. Yeah. So he's got he's got leeway where he can make his own decisions.
You talk about just maybe the average fan not comprehending all that these kids are having to do. Steven sometimes goes to the line of scrimmage 2 or 3 plays that he can call and has to make a decision based off what a linebacker or a safety is doing.
Very much so. And it's not just a quarterback anymore. I think forever, it was this is my helmet, this is my shoulder, my pads type. I don't know if you ever even saw that skit. If you're young, old enough to have seen that, but those days are gone. You have to have intelligence to be able to play the game of football. Certainly quarterback. I mean, we've known that, but beyond that, to play any of the positions, because there's so much going on and so much. If they do this, you do that. I try to tell parents a lot of times, they're like, well, I don't understand. Johnny runs this and he's this height and he does. I'm like, well, Johnny it's cognitive. If you don't understand what that means, look it up. And it's probably genetic. But sometimes that's the situation. Yeah. It's not that they can't physically do it. They don't know what to do. And if you mess it up enough, you're messing up the whole, certainly offense, but that's defense too.
Right.
I mean, it's changed. You can have a few spots at defense. You can basically say, okay, just go play. But most places not anymore.
And specifically, I'd say the line of scrimmage too for the offensive line, because so many calls that they're having to do. It's not just go up and hit the guy in front of you. They're having to double team or at least like push somebody, get to the next level. Uh-huh. The center's making a lot of those calls as they're getting up to it. I know these guys, a lot of sophomores and juniors playing for you right now. How do you feel like they've progressed, say, from the beginning of summer till now with that?
It's definitely a good progression. I think Coach Fogarty is happy with it. You're right. They have to learn. They have to learn, okay, we call a play. They don't know who they have
until the defense
defense lines up. And then also, what does the defense do? They move, they shift. So there has to be a lot of thinking, a lot of communication going on with those guys. And that's hard to do. That's why typically you'll have a defense as ahead of an offense at the beginning of the year, just because all of that goes into it. And certainly with today's football, where you play sideline to sideline, 50-yard, vertically, and everything is changing all the time.
And I think we've seen that at all levels of football through the first few weeks of the season. NFL offenses were struggling, college football offenses have been struggling, mm-hmm. and then high school as well. So mm-hmm. just defense seems to be ahead of the offense, especially in the new age of football right here. But again, another bye week coming up this Friday, and then we get ready for Westminster coming up next Friday night. We're going to take a break. We'll come back, continue the Danny Britt Show right here from BowTie Barbecue.
As the world's largest lifestyle retailer of recreational boats and yachts, MarineMax is dedicated to connecting people with life-changing experiences on the water. More than just a boat retailer, MarineMax offers a complete range of services. 3518 Old Tybee Road, Thunderbolt, and online at marinemax.com. Cool Vibes Pizza and Wings is one of Savannah's most popular. Could be the New York style pizza, or the pasta, or sandwiches, or wings. Whatever you choose, Cool Vibes has their own unique style. Check them out at 4501 Montgomery Street, Savannah.
Dead or alive, we want your car. No matter the condition, running smooth or barely rolling, Cash In Carry in Savannah will buy it right off the road. Visit us now, get your instant offer, and turn that ride into cash today. We buy cars, any condition.
Plan your hunting getaway and escape to experience the beauty of Mossy Pond. Our diverse property right here in Pierce County allows you to enjoy various types of hunts, including plantation-style quail, hog, pheasant, and flooded timber-style duck hunts, all within 24 hours. At the center of it all, experience scenic, rustic, beautiful, and inviting amenities like luxury lodging, our first-class pro shop, fine dining, and the perfect event space. Book now and see why Mossy Pond Lodge is Georgia's premier hunting paradise.
Criminal defense, family law, DUI, and divorce. You need representation. The one to call is Savannah's own Jonathan V. Dunn, PC, attorney at law. Voted a Thompson Reuters super lawyer consecutively since 2023. Online at jvdattorney.com.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Burning Leonard-Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the Shield since 1934. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
BC Brothers Moving is Savannah's most trusted moving service. From residential to commercial to packing supplies, BC Brothers does it all. Let BC Brothers' energetic, trustworthy team wrap it, pack it, and move it for you. Check out BC Brothers online at bcbrothersmoving.com or give them a like on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Danny Britt Show here at BowTie Barbecue. And Coach, we were just talking about how important a good defense is.
Yes, we were. And a strong defense wins championships, and it protects your financial future, too. At Abel's Iron Moore & Associates, they help you manage risk, protect your wealth, and build for the future. Insight, perspective, results, that's AIMA. Visit AIMAINC.com or 912-777-4128 and put your defense in place today.
And, Coach, we were speaking in the last segment, again, coming up 5 o'clock today right here on Watch BC Sports. We're going to get a chance to see maybe the future of BC football as they take on Calvary Day with the C team. Give us a little preview about the roster and what we can expect from those guys.
Yeah, we kind of do this in three different ways at BC because it's so hard for us to get JV freshmen or games. I talked to Jason a while back, and he kind of talked about what he was playing. It's his JV. He said mostly it's made up of freshmen and sophomores, and I think pretty much all. So
right.
That's what we're doing. We're going all the freshmen and some of the sophomores, obviously not the starters or, like a Jameer Lee who's played a ton of defense for us. He's not going. Those sophomores aren't going, but so it'll be, mostly freshmen and a few sophomores in there. And, they've worked very hard because of the way we do it. We each, the freshmen's getting coached by the same coach that the seniors getting coached by. And so that's how we do that. And we kind of mix it up a little bit there, but they don't, as a team, as a unit, they don't get as much time together. But, the past 2 weeks, we've definitely taken that group and said, okay, Coach Collins is going to be their head coach or is their head coach, and we'll call their offense. And, and Coach Orsini is going to call the defense for us. And that group has been going and practicing after, we finished our varsity practices this week.
Who's going to be under center tonight?
That will be Thomas Brennan.
Okay.
Thomas Brennan will be under center, and love that kid. He's obviously, his dad Reed is a huge supporter of us. His older brother Reed's on our team, and he's been a Blessed Sacrament kid, and a BC kid since he was born. So excited for him and get to go play. He'll be under center. He'll also be your kicker tonight. He hadn't done that until last week, and we went, oh gosh, we don't have a kicker. So he said I can do it. So he's been working on it, and he's going to be doing the kicking tonight.
Look, Stephen Cannon can punt. Mr. Brennan can kick.
Stephen can punt. I'm scared to find out if I don't know if I want him to work on it any because he did so good without working on it. I may just say, don't worry about it. Just show up and punt. But he can do that. Athletes. That's like I was talking to Stephen, talking about Stephen the other day. I said, hey, it's just like, when you played outfield. He said, I never played outfield. I said, you didn't play baseball? He said, I always played shortstop. Oh, yeah.
That tracks.
Oh, no. Come on, man. Yeah. And then Amari was giving him a fit for that. I said, if you play baseball, you can play everything.
Right.
I mean, nobody ever wanted me to pitch, but you can play everything. So.
Hand-eye coordination, you got to sprint. Yeah, all of it.
So athletes can be athletes.
That's
You can kick, you can punt, you can do all that stuff.
And again, it's going to be fun tonight. That's coming up at 5 o'clock. But, Coach, we were kind of talking about these past few weekends, been some exciting stuff happening in the world of college football. I think you kind of have a unique insight for Georgia fans as they get ready to watch their team take on Tennessee coming up 3:30 on Saturday. Very good friends with the Stockton family. You've known Gunner basically his whole life. And I think he's been kind of catching some flack, maybe unfairly, these past couple of weeks. Just fans frustrated with an offense not scoring 100 points a game up there in Athens. But what's your take on Gunner, and how do you think he's going to perform, not just this week, but the rest of the season?
I believe Gunner will be just fine. And I know we mentioned this in the previous show. I don't know why they give Bobo so much, so hard on him. I think he does a good job of calling for sure. But Gunner's going to be just fine. What they were doing was, they were taking it away, basically saying you just run the ball, and Georgia took what, they could get. And then it wasn't as good, I get, last week. Wasn't as dominant as you want to see. But that's kind of the way it is sometimes, guys. And Gunner's going to be just fine. And people always – I remember when one of my first head coaches that I worked for, Ronnie Jones, he said, remember this. The most popular person on the team is the backup quarterback, and the most popular coach on staff is the next head coach.
Yeah,
the guy who's not actually calling it, so he hasn't made a mistake yet, nor has the backup quarterback. So everybody loves to do that, and that's why they call them fans. They're fanatics, and it is what it is.
My curiosity is always, you got a coach who's won, I believe, 3 SEC championships now and 2 national championships in less than a decade, and you're questioning whether or not he has talent evaluation about who he's starting, especially at the most important position on the field. That one just never made sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. It's like, what do you think I'm going to do because I like the kid? He's going to. I mean, if that were the case, we'd have a whole different lineup roster of kids a lot of times. If it was just, I like this kid. Well, I mean, that is not what it's about. And he knows what he's got. He knows what Gunner can do. And it's not, they've made a big deal out of the fact that everybody likes him, all that. And that is important. You want to be able to, you want your team wanting to play for their quarterback.
Sure.
And he is truly what they say he is. That's kind of his natural instinct. That's how his parents are. They're very good people, kind of down to earth people. But Kirby don't really care about that.
Right.
He wants a guy that can win. He believes he can win, and I think he can too.
And again, big time game coming up there in Knoxville, and your team coach, Georgia Southern, tough West Coast swing. They lose to Fresno State and then they lose to USC, but I thought kind of progressed through both of those games. I think a lot better showing against USC, and I think Coach Helton has these guys poised. I think they were only a game away last year from potentially hosting a Sun Belt Championship game. I think they've maybe taken the next step and look like a team that can really compete for that title.
I think they can. I was disappointed in the Fresno game, as I'm sure Coach Helton was and everybody was. But again, I'm like you. I think they took positive steps against USC, and who was much more athletic, superior to Georgia Southern, and that is just the way it is. I can see that. I get it. Georgia Southern fans, they can be a great fan base and a really, really difficult fan base, because I think they think we should be playing for national championships like we did in FCS. Honestly, I know some of them, and I think they actually are going to, when the Super Bowl rolls around, well, why can't we be in the Super Bowl? I mean, they don't understand. I can look out there and go, that team is superior to this team.
Right.
It's just part of it. It's the levels of football. But Coach Helton does a great job. I'm excited to get in Paulson Stadium Saturday night. I'll be there under our tent and, see what they could do against, a teams more evenly matched. And
again, I think Georgia Southern, one of those programs where if you get the right year and you get the right schedule and you can lose maybe just one game and maybe get that G5 spot, I definitely think Georgia Southern is one of those teams that can do that. But I still, even with the transfer portal and NIL, I don't know that the gap has closed that much to where a Boise State can win a national championship.
I don't think so either. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
that a Boise State can get in. There's a chance Georgia Southern could get in, and but yeah, I don't think you're winning a national championship. There's a reason the big dogs are the big dogs, and they may eventually get there, but it's going to be time.
And again, BC off this week, but getting ready for a trip up to Westminster coming up next Friday night, and then we dive in to the region schedule. No, it's a bye week, but I encourage everybody on Friday night, get out and watch a high school football game, support the local teams. It's what else are you doing on Friday night?
That's right.
Going out and watching some good football. So do that. Enjoy your college football Saturday, and then we'll be back here next Thursday at noon getting ready for Westminster. And again, coming up tonight at 5 o'clock here on Watch BC Sports. We will have the C team against Calvary Day. Be on the call for that one. We'll have a live video broadcast of that. Let some of the younger guys get a little of the spotlight this week during the bye week. Coach, we appreciate the time as always, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Christian, thank you, and go Cadets.